Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of this podcast slash series slash whatever this is going to become. It's still in its infancy. We'll see where it goes naturally. But this second episode really isn't a podcast format at all. I'm not really interviewing anybody. If anything, I'm being interviewed in the second part of it, which you'll see. But really what it is me just walking you through a journey that I just had called a dark room retreat commonly. And this was at Sky Cave Retreats in Oregon. And so big shout out to the whole team and all of the beautiful, amazing people who helped to make this happen. Much love to you guys. And, you know, this is really just me walking you through how I felt, how, you know, some of the integration after the fact. And, you know, hopefully you guys get a good feel for how this authentically felt and, you know, what I authentically learned from it. It's a lot of raw emotion over here. Like I promised and said, this is, you know, my intent is to keep this a very raw, uncooked and authentic feel. So I hope you guys get that. And I hope this, you know, serves anybody watching it some benefit somehow. Perhaps motivation to go try to do something similar. Perhaps, you know, it's not for everybody though. So perhaps just some motivation, just go, you know, be a little more adventurous with your mind and with life. Just dive in a little deeper. So please go comment. Please go subscribe. It means a lot for me, for this channel to grow. It's a lot more important to me than my Instagram, all of my other social media channels. Yeah, they're cool. It's fun. It's nice to show off your abs. This is where you guys really get to see this inside, who Dom is really in here. And hopefully you guys get something out of this. I'm just going to let you guys go enjoy right now. Much love, peace, enjoy my episode. Take care.
Hey guys, just wanted to show you where I'm staying right now. I'm at, let me see if I can. At this beautiful property in Medford, Oregon. And this little hobbit house looking place is where I'm going to spend the next 7 days of my life. This little house built into the side of the hill. And literally built into the side of the hill like a hobbit house. And obviously that makes it completely closed off to, oh boy, got all this stuff all over me now. I'll spend the next 20 minutes picking that off my feet, off my shoes. Well, so once you close that, this little double door system where, you know, this is where the person who's here to help you comes in to drop off your food. I'm going to be closed in there, blocked off all the light. This is where they come to deliver your food. That little double door system. And on my end, once I close that, right now the lights are still on, but this is a little 360 view, right? There's my bed. There's a little meditation slash foam roller slash yoga mat. A little area over here. They keep it pretty simple so you're not bumping into stuff. That is where I get my food out on my end. That's where you sit down and eat it. A bathtub to take a bath. And this would be, the light switches over here, is just a very simple little bathroom. And, you know, Setup's pretty simple. I put just my bare necessities in my cubby, my retainer, just few pair of underwear, some shirts, a jacket up there, and some water. Everything else stayed there in the bags. I don't really have a need for it. And once we turn everything off, that's what it's going to look like. That's going to be me for the next 7 days. Total darkness. So, walking back out here. Man, I got these stickies all over me. Dude, they're all over my leg too. Damn. Walked right into the trap. And believe it or not, I'm actually really looking forward to the next few days. And a lot of people have asked me, why am I doing it? What do I expect to get out of it? And while I could regurgitate what people have said that have already done it, and tell you what the benefits were for them, and what they got out of it. I think that's totally pointless. I think like most other things in life, especially anything that has to do with such a deep journey into the mind like this, is going to be a completely idiosyncratic experience, and everybody's going to have a different experience at the end of the day. And it's kind of pointless for me to talk about what other people's experiences may have been, and what I've seen them report. And realistically, when people keep asking me this, I just tell them, I'll let you know when I'm done with it. I don't know what I'm getting out of it yet. On the very, very least, I feel like I'll train myself a little more how to cope with difficult situations in my mind, and just teach my psyche a little more resilience to challenging situations, and just make my mind a little stronger. And on the very, very best, it's probably going to be a amazing journey into the mind, and I'll probably have some amazing insights, perhaps comparable to plant medicine. That's what some people have said. Yeah, those of you guys that have been following me for a while know I'm very big into plant medicine, and it's probably why I don't walk in with any expectations, or I walk in with an intention, know what I want to feel, what I want to get out of this, and anything that comes up is very, very welcome. I don't think that, I think walking in with too many expectations kind of ruins the whole experience, because that can cause you to struggle a lot if your expectations are not met. So, yeah, that's basically it. And the sun went down over there. I can share a little for this one. Maybe not quite yet. Very, very beautiful. And they have some other houses down there. That's another hut, basically very similar to this one. And then way further out in the property, there's another one. Obviously not going to be on my phone throughout the 7 days that I'm in there. But when I get back out, I'll continue this video, continue sharing how I'm feeling, and hopefully have a better answer for you guys as to what I got out of this and why I thought it was beautiful, hopefully. And really looking forward to it, actually. Peace. Love y'all. So this is my last few words before I go in for good now. I did a little dry run last night and basically just tested out how it's going to be brushing my teeth and making it to the bathroom and finding my way around in the dark and waking up and not really having anything to distract you. And it was really cool. So, but today I'm really going in for good. It's about noon, and I think I'm going to get out 7 days from now, right around noon. And today you get to get a little better view of how beautiful this place is around. The sun's not shining right in our face. And 8 deer. It was so cool. All these little animals. I was reading a book out here, and right over, how do I do this? There. A deer came out just as I was sitting on that chair. It came up super close to me. Then he freaked out when I said, "Hey, buddy," because I guess they don't like when you say, "Hey, buddy." Should have just shut up. So yeah, about to go do a little bit of energy work with Adrian, and before jumping in for good. And well, see what this brings out. Peace and love to y'all. So I just finished energy work session / pretty much felt like a therapy session with one of the hosts over here, Adrian. And there was a lot to unpack over there because I think as the universe just always kind of knows better than us what we need before we jump into something like that, like something like this, I feel like it just unpacked a shitstorm of different things on me right before I came here, the day before, having to do with a relationship with my mom, with my siblings, something with my ex-girlfriend, and, it was things that I was avoiding having to deal with because I just didn't want to have to go into the dark and deal with these for 7 days. So, but inevitably they came right at the right time. So there was a lot of unpacking over there, and I'm grateful to have something to work on over the next few days. And this is my bye-bye for now. Checking out. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
another chair. If you feel behind you. There you go. And that's the other. So to the other. Yeah. Whenever, take your time.
To go ahead and remove the blindfold?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Hey, bro.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Strange. Just as new of an experience as going in there.
How was your time in there?
A lot of learning. Yeah. You don't know how happy I was when you walked in there and knocked on the door, because I totally lost track of how many days I was in there. I melded together. Yeah, I had no idea whether today was the last. Actually, by the time you came and knocked, I had fully accepted that today was not the last day. I mean, maybe I woke up way too early. I was waiting around. I was like, I guess I messed the day count up. Maybe it's tomorrow. And I had already made peace with that. And even though I was really antsy, kind of ready to get out, sat down and this is crazy. And yeah, I sat down and did a little meditation and said thank you for an extra day in here. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and be able to learn more. And just decided to make the very, very, very best out of it, because as each day got a little more and more difficult, so did it get more rewarding. And so I was totally okay with the fact that even though that was going to be the most difficult day, I was very, very excited to see what would have come tonight, because last night was by far the most rewarding. Very, very difficult. Well, I had had a lot to do with the work we did with that I did with Adrian in the beginning, and I guess the universe kind of knows, like, what you're about to get into, and they set everything up for you, and had the cascade of events and things happen just days before, 2 days, 1 day right before coming, actually. And so we discussed issues with this dynamic with the relationship with my brother and my mother, and long going things with my father, and just lingering things that never got resolved with a past relationship and my very last ex. And had this big conversation with my mom and my brother, like right before I flew over here, and then I show up here and there's like missed calls from my ex, and I was like, okay, cool, you want me to work on these, huh? And in the work I did with Adrian, I already knew this, but it was good to get a little knock on the head and be like, hey, it's time to work on this for real. And had a lot to do with just holding the armor up and just being too tough, and just being way too fucking tough for my own good, and just pushing through, just bulldozing through problems when you need to, without any softness. And I guess that's the way I had been dealing with the issues with my mom and my brother and my ex and everything. And throughout the first, I guess, 6 days, it was just this roller coaster of, yeah, you're learning, no, you lost it all. Yeah, you're learning, no, you lost it all. It's like, okay, yeah, there's softness, just forgive, let go. And then I'd just wake up the next day and it would just be this fear of just holding resentment all over again, like, fuck, okay, we gotta work on this again some more, right? And I'd do some more, and then I think like last night, man, was the just floodgates just let open, and I was just singing some of these love songs that from Wachuma ceremonies that I do, that I was just singing them towards every single person that I had some sort of resentment or anger held towards. And I just started with, or not even just people that I had anger held towards, but a lot of other people that I just loved too. And man, I just started with my grandpa. And my grandpa's passed away at this point, and I had a beautiful relationship. And one of the things that just kind of bothered me a little bit after he died was we weren't on bad terms or anything. We didn't go through a big argument or anything when he died, but it was just like, been like a couple weeks since we had been able to speak, and it was just like, when he passed away very suddenly, I was like, fuck, I didn't get to say like that one last that one last I love you, that one last big hug, and it's kind of realized that, like, fuck, there's other people that I really, really, really love too. And even though it's, not that huge of a deal, it's not like I don't have a relationship with them, everything is fine with my mom. I have a relationship with her and everything, but would it be there? And I'd tell him like this, and then just would keep coming back to this. Like I'm saying, I'll find this piece and then come back to this next day and like, oh no, but they need to hear it. Like, you just fucking up the relationship even more, you know? Just let it go. And I think, you know, it's whatever that is, 6 or 7, how long was I in there? 7 nights, I think, right? So, last 7 nights into it, man, I think I finally kind of come to this conclusion that I had an incomplete or not as deep understanding of equanimity as I should have. Whereas equanimity isn't so much, is what it is, fuck it, you know, that's not so much equanimity. Equanimity is, you know, that I do care so much. It's not that I don't care, it's like I actually care so fucking much. That's bothering my heart. But that I'm okay with how something may or may not turn out. Despite my deepest efforts and deepest care and deepest concern, it has nothing to do with not caring. It has to do with being okay and the acceptance with things despite caring very, very, very much. And acting as if you do care, that you really want to solve the problem. I think that was for sure, you know, one of the biggest aha moments over there, and I'm very grateful I stayed as long as I did to kind of come around to that, because, you know, up until the day prior, it's just been this roller coaster of like, yeah, I forgot what I got it, yeah, I got it, lost it, I got it, lost it. I really needed to stay there as long as I did to really, you know, hammer that one into my head. And, you know, a very, very beautiful moment probably actually came in, you know, very early on into the journey in there. I was, you know, probably 2 days in or something, and really fidgety, you know, I really wanted to happen. I'm used to a very, very busy lifestyle, you know. Even when I was in there, I had my little routine and my structure, you know, it's the way I'm gonna get up and do my exercise, my sit-ups and my push-ups and my, you know, my yoga, and the rest of it is meditating, but I needed my little structure there. I feel like I was somewhat productive. Productive completely. There's nothing in there, there's nothing to do, chill. But, so, you know, I realized that, you know, there were 2 ways that I was going to make this, first of all, you know, dealable. I was going to be able to deal with it, and more importantly, not just whether I was going to be able to deal with it, but whether I was going to be able to learn from this, rather than just sitting around there, because I after this, I really don't think that you really get anything out of this by sitting in there twirling your thumbs waiting for the time to go by. Like, it comes with the work. I don't think that, like, it's not passive learning. You don't just sit in there in your bed and wait for all of the ahas to come.
Like plant medicine.
It's totally like plant medicine.
Right. It's just passive. Right.
Unlike,
I'm saying well, in that, like, with
it depends on which plant medicine.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of sit back and you get taken on a journey.
Sure.
That's what I meant. That's passive.
Yeah.
Here, it's just like, it's so slow.
Yeah. Even though with plant medicine, after the fact, you need to be very active.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
meant
during.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. And so, you know, I quickly realized that, it was when I was sitting up straight, doing my breath work, doing the work, that this came. If I sat laid down and twirled my thumbs and was wondering, well, I wonder how much longer I got, that was miserable. That was the worst few hours I had in there we're doing sitting around waiting, well, I wonder how long this is going to take. Not fun. So yeah, I kind of came to this realization that there were, I guess, two things that I could do to be able to learn from this and to make the time feel good in there. And one was to stay present, and we work on little spurts of staying present. You're lucky if you can stay present for a minute at a time. During a meditation, if you can stay completely present for 1 minute, that's an accomplishment for me, at least. So 7 days of nailing that one into you. Stay present. Nope. Don't let it wander. Come back. Nope. Don't let it wander. Come back. And staying present was one, but obviously that's not possible for 7 days straight. So the other thing that came into play over there, the other ingredient was, while you're not present, you have to sit and live in good thoughts. Because over there, I think this was the biggest reason I came here in the first place, was to, I didn't know what I was going to get out of it, but I knew that there was something potentially special about sitting with nothing but my thoughts and no distractions from them. And that's where I thought I could learn the most, was, what are my thoughts really like when I'm not distracted? What are my thoughts not like? What are my thoughts like when I'm not talking to somebody? Now, what are my thoughts like when I'm not, looking around and appreciating either beauty or something ugly, whatever. It's just taking my mind off of what my thought patterns are. So what do my thought patterns look like? And in that, sitting and kind of just always bringing my, trying to stay present and or stay in positive thinking, I was able to kind of identify at a more granular level, what is it that keeps my mind stuck in negativity sometimes. And what I realized was that, it's not necessarily that I sprout more negative thoughts. Just for sake of argument, let's say it's 50-50. Maybe that's not true. Maybe there are more negative thoughts. I don't know. But just to drive home this idea, let's say that, I sprout 50% positive thoughts, 50% negative thoughts. There's this mechanism through which it seems to, if not solely, at least majority of the time, applies to negative thoughts, where the thought comes, if it's a positive thought, I love my mom so much, it comes and then it goes through and it fades, and then that's the end of that thought. And when if it's negative, it's like, oh well, fuck them, they did that to me, and then it just comes in, and then it gets stuck in this cycle, this loop, and it goes, yeah, but what I should have said, that, but what if they did, what if I were saying this at that time, and well, but what I really should have done, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, the positive thought sprouted, came, had its positive benefit, and left my mind, the negative thought arises, gets stuck in this just unproductive bullshit loop of just assumptions and more negative, unnecessary thinking, and then all of a sudden you've spent 5-10 minutes on that one thought, as where what I should be doing is applying that to all of the positive thoughts and not to the negative ones. So not that it makes it any easier to fix, right? There's still a problem to fix there, but at least it's kind of like, running my hand down the hose and kind of, oh, there's the leak, I found it. At least I kind of identified what nuts and bolts needs to be fixed, rather than just, oh, positive thinking in such a vague, positive thinking. I think this is more, brings me a couple steps closer to understanding how to really fix it, rather than just that I need to fix that.
What did you find most fascinating about being in the darkness?
Well, wow, I guess one of the main things is how crazy vivid my dreams were. I never remember my dreams. Like, I'm lucky. Like, for me to remember a dream, something throughout my day that somewhat resembles something in the dream has to happen in just the precise moment in time, makes me go, oh yeah, I dreamt about that last night. Like 99% of the nights I do not remember my dreams, and yeah, people say that you dream every night regardless. So I'm forgetting 99% of my dreams. They were coming out vivid. I have them all written down over there too. Hopefully, I was hoping the ink and everything was working. Hope I didn't write nothing for 7 days. Haven't checked, but yeah, they were very, very, very vivid. Like, I remembered like micro details, and like as soon as I would wake up, and I think maybe part of it is just also not getting up and going straight to your phone, not getting up and running off to do the first thing that you just nothing to sidetrack you from what just happened. So maybe that's part of it, but it was. And I don't know, maybe my dreams are just always like this because I don't remember, but they were extremely sexual. Very sexual dreams.
The darkness is like, there's something about it. Yeah.
I don't know. It probably has nothing to do with the darkness. Maybe that part's just, that's what I dream every night, and I just don't remember them. I don't know.
Well, I mean, a lot of people who go in there, myself included, it's like, wow, it's a very sexual space.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel the same when I'm in there. Like,
interesting.
Wow, it's...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very vivid, very sexual, and every single night I dreamt like, 3-4 dreams, and I had to write them all down, and, would love to kind of look into some, dream interpretation and learn a little bit about this. I had heard, before coming into this, I had heard varying stories about, visions and visuals, what may or may you not see. I had my own version of that for sure. Some people speak about, endogenous DMT release and whatever, and I have plenty of DMT experience, and they did not feel like DMT visions at all to me. But there was certainly a lot that I saw. Very different. It was its own nature. Had nothing to do with any sort of plant medicine that I've ever done. But whether it was mandalas or just very specific things that I would see, or at one point, wow, it would get really crazy. Every once in a while, like, just it happened like maybe 3 times throughout my time in there, I would get this red hue all around the periphery of my vision, and spots of it around everywhere else as well. And I would just get completely disoriented. I had no idea where I was. Like, I felt like I had the place mapped out pretty good, and I went to the toilet, I knew how to make it back to the bed, I'd stumble a couple times, but, for the most part, kind of had my little method of getting back, When this would happen, I couldn't remember whether it was left or right or what, and I was just like, am I at the bed? I'm like, no, I'm at the bathtub. This is the complete opposite ends of the room. What is going on? And like I said, I learned I do a lot of breath work. I work on breath work, almost every day. And there's so many different ways to do that, so many different methodologies and thought process behind it, and hyperoxygenation, hypooxygenation, and whatever you call this one. I definitely found out a new way of doing it, which was extremely potent. I mostly live off of Wim Hof breathing with a couple little other things mixed in here and there, and you get a lot of time to do breath work in there, and I don't need to get into all the details of how I was doing it, but it was potent, man. And for however brief that period is after you release, I was like, holy shit, I can see. I was pitch black, but there was plenty I could see. And, you know, I don't know if it felt like physical, concrete things that I could see and touch, or just crazy mandalas to people in there, to a mix of all of them, really. And so that was interesting. I'm certainly going to incorporate that one in more often. It's a little too intense almost. It was overwhelming to the point where, like, sometimes I was kind of scared to do it. I was certainly obviously scared to kind of fall over sometimes, you know, but even like laying there on the bed where I knew I wasn't going to fall over, it was still just overwhelming. And it would be very interesting right now to go home and just try it on a normal day and see if it's still as potent, because it was certain, you know, may or may not have had something to do with being in the dark for that long. But yeah, those were, you know, the dreams, a lot of the visuals, and just some new breath work and staying present, and, you know, the positive thoughts. I think those are some of the main lessons and, you know, interesting characteristics of being in the dark.
Did you take some baths?
Oh, they were my best friend. Yeah. Yeah, it was part of my routine. It was, you know, workout in the morning, and it took me a couple days to kind of settle in on a little routine there. And I had it wasn't much you can do with just body weight, but there was the push-up, squats, and sort of lunges day and back bends, always with yoga before. And then I had my ab day, everything abs. And then I'd get all sweaty, and then that was my time to, you know, I would do that while the bathtub was filling up. And after I'd jump in there, you know, getting all sweaty, time for a bath, and I'd jump in there, and who knows how long would go by in there, but I would spend a lot of time in the bath for sure. Yeah, evidently that's a thing. Yeah.
The only, like, friend.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, because, you know, it's the only thing that you can do that's relaxing, but still not like sitting in there twirling your thumbs, like I was saying. Because when you're just laying on the bed staring at whatever, you know, the ceiling, that does not feel good. That felt just like sitting around waiting for time to pass. You know, at least I'm in the bath. I still felt like it was in some, to an extent, like active meditation, not completely passive. Hey, what time is it? You know. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. How would you describe the darkness to someone who's never experienced it before?
It's like somebody saying, hey, can you describe ayahuasca to me? No, I can't. No, you can go do it, but I can't describe it. First of all, it's going to be... I think it's safe to say it is, and probably should be, a completely idiosyncratic experience. You know, and even when people would ask me before coming over here, like, well, what do you want to get out of this? I'm like, I'll tell you when I get out. Like, I don't know. What I do know is that, you know, I've been on this planet for 34 years times 365 days, however many, I don't know what that number is, but it's pretty fucking big. And I can spend 6 of those trying to see what this has to offer. And if it doesn't have anything to offer, worst case is I spent some unnecessary money and I can go back to doing exactly what I was before. But I don't think that's likely because of the people that I see doing it, the people's description of what they get out of it. But I don't expect my experience to be like theirs. And you know, I mean, I think this just comes from somebody who's done a decent amount of plant medicine, and you just know that it's, you know, you can't explain the minutia. You know, I can explain big things. I can explain, you know, I had visions, but what those visions are like and how they're really going to feel to you, that's going to be to you to understand. And you know, and all of these lessons, I had no idea that I was going to get them, you know. I mean, they're just, you have to be completely willing to just go with the flow. I think you know, if you can walk in there and surrender, I think that's when you can, you know, learn the most. The same with plant medicine, the same with pretty much everything in life. If you try to just, you know, headbutt your way through everything, you know, you limit the amount that you can learn. I guess if somebody were to ask me, I'd, try as nicely as possible to convince them to just go do it and quit asking me questions. But if you really need an explanation,
Like, how would you qualify the darkness? Like, what did the darkness feel like? And or how did it make you feel?
Well, antsy at first, very fidgety, up until I surrendered.
And why do you think it made you feel antsy and fidgety?
Well, I think we're just so... I am just so just indoctrinated with this routine of I have to get this done and I have to get that done, and there's so many things that need to happen, and what if I don't get to my whole to-do list? So for somebody that likes to think of themselves as productive as I do, not doing anything with my to-do list is a challenge at first, so, and I think it's just, so, to answer your question, I think it's just a habit that, we need to be consistently doing rather than being. And right there, there's nothing to do. I mean, there's minor things you can do. You can take a bath. You can, roll on the foam roller. For the most part, it's very limited to what you can do. You really have to be content with just being. And I don't think many people are used to just being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you were going. So how did you so the darkness, and then you surrendered?
Yeah. So I surrendered into it. And really just started to think you, thank Adrian, thank everybody for making this experience what it was, and bringing me tasty food and doing all this work to make sure I'm comfortable in there, and you for making all this. It's insane, and I'm just just part of it was just sitting there, going back to what I had said. It's either you be present or you think of everything you have to be grateful for in there, including this opportunity, this beautiful, amazing opportunity to just learn anything I can learn. I don't know what it is, but anything that I can learn. And I think it was just open my heart to receive whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, there's this detail, nobody knows this yet, but I was not supposed to be here until July of next year or something. And the fact that this serendipitous moment just popped open like this, and you can come now, right when I called you, said, oh yeah, it's like in 3 weeks, where there's all of a sudden there's this opening when you normally would have had to wait, a year, at least 6-7 months at the time, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And that alone made it so much easier to just be thankful for the fact that this is such a blessing and such an opportunity to be in there. Like nobody stuck me in there. I decided to come here, and get God, the universe, whoever, just Wakantanka, or you just put it in my lap and said, oh, you really want to do it? Well, there you go. Mm-hmm. You gonna take it? Mm-hmm. Go, bitch. Hurry. And so, I think really it just came down to just being so thankful for everything leading up to this. Sorry, tangent, but this is an important one. One of the huge aha moments that it preceded the big one that I told you about on the last day, where I just started realizing, just let all of this bullshit go, like really just act with, and I'm plagiarizing from Adrian right now, just be tough when it's needed. That's a good thing, that's a quality, but precede it with softness, with gentleness, and use the toughness when it's needed. Don't go through life, like an Aries, like a ram, bang, just hammering through everything. So it preceded that, and I'm very sure that it had a huge, impact on opening the door towards getting to that point. And man, it was very, 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 very beautiful moment for me, man. Have you ever read the book know Siddhartha? Okay, as you should have, and as everybody watching this, whenever you watch it, should please read the book Siddhartha. It's, you know, one of the more impactful books I've ever read in my life, and it's a tiny little one. You can get through it in, you know, 2 days if you want to. And you know, in that book, he kind of goes through all sorts, you know, just different phases of life, right? From being a spoiled little prince behind the walls to taking off and just being a vagabond wanderer to being a, you know, successful businessman to being an addict. I think he becomes addicted to gambling or hookers or whatever. It's just all these things, and you just think like the Buddha. It's like, yeah, the Buddha. He had to go through all that, you know, and you know, to the very end, and all of this life experience contributed to him being like this 360 full spectrum human being that experienced everything, you know. And I was sitting in there just thinking about how grateful I am about, you know, for all of this, everything that's going on in my life right now. And I just have such an amazing social circle, and I'm so thankful for the people who surround me right now, and what I do with my day every single day. And like, I'm surrounded by nothing but loving people who care for me. And you know, there's all of this crazy adventure, dark rooms, going to Lebanon and going to, you know, like Petra, and just, you know, just sitting there talking to the Bedouins in their Bedouin caves and stuff. And it's just like, that's the life I'm living right now, and it's so fucking awesome, so cool. And I'm just thinking about, like, I started to trace back just at first by just accident, really. I was just thinking about, like, oh yeah, and I'm so happy that I know this person, and all of the plant medicine ceremonies we do together, and this is so fun. And then I'm like, oh yeah, and I wouldn't have met her if it weren't for whoever, and then I wouldn't have met him, oh yeah, if it weren't for this other person. I'm like, and then just all of a sudden I was like tracing it back down, and I'm going, oh yeah, he's the reason I met her, and he's the reason I met him. And I wouldn't have met him if I weren't fucked up in some club at 4 a.m. on cocaine, GHB, fucking pills, and ketamine, tripping balls, wasting my fucking life away. And here's where I am right now, because of that moment, because of those little moments of, you know, I just decided to pick up and say, you know, no, I'm dropping this, you know, I'm not going to work in a cubicle for the rest of my life. I'm going to go over to Miami and just pick up and take that decision. You know, this is where my heart's leading me. This is where I'm going to go with it, and I want to live everything. I want to live every single bit, you know. And you know, not recommending people go do that, but necessarily. But for me, it's what was needed, and it was just like in that book. It's as big of a part of me being where I am right now, enjoying these beautiful blessings, as any other one of those very nice, beautiful parts. All of the, like, oh man, since that day that I just described, you know, in the club, there have been so many ups and downs, and addiction, and just excess, and I remember going through points throughout those, you know, this 5-year span that I'm kind of looking at. Just, you know, of course it goes much longer. It goes 34 years if you really look at it, but or longer. My mom and grandfather and everybody were alive, but just in this span of time that I just described, that's about 5 years. And throughout that, there was some crazy lows in that. And to make it clear, like, I've never once, like, even came realistically, like, close to contemplating anything that, like, suicide or anything, but I've certainly gone through some times in that span where I was at least able to relate to what people might think when they go through something like that. This feeling of like, fuck, does this just not get better? Like, is there no out? Is there no way to fix this? Like, I've done all of this shit and it doesn't. Why? It's like, what do I do? Do I not have anything else to do? That's what you end up doing, you know? And while I never, you know, that the thoughts thoughts have kind of inhabited my head for whatever brief period of time, recurringly for some period of time there. I never came close to it at all. But just the thought that, like, man, if you were one of those people, if you had gotten closer and you took away on that moment of despair that things wouldn't get better and you didn't want to keep doing the work, and you or anybody just decides to interrupt the whole process, you never would have gotten through that tunnel to the beautiful fucking place you're living right now nowadays, and just being able to just look at this whole jumble of amazing ups and downs and this crazy roller coaster, and just being so happy with where I am right now, and just being able to link everything together was a beautiful moment. Yeah, so how does it feel in the dark? It feels very difficult. Don't come here thinking it's not going to be difficult. Don't come here thinking it's going to be easy. Come knowing that you're getting prepared for something that's equally as meaningful as it is difficult. And I think if you come with that mindset, there's a lot that you can get out of it, and it can bring growth in ways that, maybe nothing else really can, or even plant medicine, and even, some other very, very powerful tools. Perhaps this is one extra tool that, is different than all of the above, and has its own unique benefits. And I'd certainly recommend anybody who really wants to get to know their mind intimately and deeply, and get to know yourself, just to come do this. Everybody has their own beliefs on, what's after death and where you go from here, but if I'm able to guess at all, I think there's probably a lot of time spent with your own thoughts, and you're going to spend a lot more time there than you are here on this planet. So, maybe time to get used to being close and intimate with your thoughts.
Yeah. To have that, almost die before you die.
Yeah.
Just kind of get to exist in a space where there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing to lean on.
Yep.
Except the bath.
And you know what? I think if I were to do it again, which I probably will at some point for sure, I think, and I don't recommend anybody do this on the first time, but I would really want to try this while fasting, and not so much because of the fasting aspect of it alone, not because of the fact that I don't have food, but because of the routine that you get into. The only thing that keeps you from not being completely lost in time, completely lost in no routine whatsoever, is the fact that you guys come and knock on the door every evening, and that kind of resets, and I'm like, oh, I know what time it is. It's, approximately 6-7 o'clock at night, and I know how many days have gone by. And if I had my big jugs of, Master Cleanse or juice or whatever it is that I'm going to do there, and nothing were to come give away how long it is that I had been in there, that sounds like the next level experience.
Yeah, definitely. That's when I go in. I don't fast. I bring in all my food.
So that.
But I eat I might have a carrot and half an apple and a handful of nuts, and that's it. Just enough so that I don't have to be bogged down with the hunger.
Right.
And so just enough so that's not present, and then I'll go in. I've gone in for 10 days a bunch of times, and then on the 5th day I'll have someone come up and just let me know that I'm halfway through, so that I have some kind of semblance. I'm okay, that was 5 days, and then they'll come up on the 10th day. I have some kind of gauge, but it'll be 5 days just.
Yeah, that sounds intimidating as hell, man. It really does.
It's definitely another.
Yeah. Even like I said, today, I mean, even just who knows, let's say I woke up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. today until whatever time you came pick me up. I don't know. What time did you grab me?
12.
Okay, 12. So let's say there were 6 hours there in between wake up and you coming to grab me, where I'm like, is this the last day? Is it not the last day? Oh, fuck, you know. Those were the hardest 6 hours of the whole entire trip. So I can only imagine what that's like if the whole entire time is like that. Plus, I think another big aspect of it is going to be that, you know, eating actually is another little part of your routine that keeps you, you know, it's like going in the bath. It's something I would do when I got really, really bored. I would go nibble on some carrots, you know.
Ultimate comfort, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Survival.
Yep. Was, you know, going over there and well, what do you do when you get bored at home? You go snack. I do it all the time. I go walk over to the fridge and grab some grub. And, you know, there's that lack of comfort, and, you know, just, I think the less routine, the more you have to be present, and the more it makes you work on the two things that I mentioned earlier: be present and stay in positivity. Because if you let either one of those go sideways, it's going to get hard, you know. So
really dropping into the eternal, just where like every moment's the same, and so it's like it really crushes. What are you waiting for?
Right,
because nothing's going to come to bring you happiness. So then you have that decision. It's like you either accept that you're miserable, which is, and then see what that brings, you know, and ultimately you'll fall through, because at the core we're just,
that's exactly what I expect it to feel like, and that's exactly what I was thinking in there. You described it exactly the way I would imagine it to be.
Which I think's the medicine for a lot of people who come, is they accept that there's parts of them that's just completely miserable, parts of all of us, and then from that there's the space that's like underneath it, that's just never miserable. It just can allow misery to be present. You know,
that's an interesting perspective, and I don't.
Well, because there's the presence. Like you could be miserable and present, and then it's not as miserable. When you're aware, because you're more identified with the awareness. But like misery is just like there's grief, you know, but there's beauty in pain, because something that's hurting, because like you said, because you care so much, and so like we get hurt because like real depth misery, not because something really at the surface didn't go our way, but just you know, like the misery of disconnecting and not caring.
Where it's not quite within your control. There's something you can't change, and it's gonna be there. But,
somebody passes away, or like we're betrayed or something. It just hurts, or you know, it's not like negative thinking. There's negative thinking, and then there's just grief and pain. That's just beautiful. In that, it's because we care so much. That's for me definitely like some of my root grief is like when I've disconnected from not showing up for my wife and my kids, and that pain of like, fuck.
When you knew that you had to do something and didn't do it, like even though you knew you.
Just like, I don't know, am I not just capable of, I'm just stuck in my old patterns and not in that moment able to really show up and care. And that's painful, and reflecting on that.
The biggest moments of, you know, of sadness, I suppose, or just regret in my life has been very, very, very few. But it's the moments where, like, it's not that I made a mistake. It's not that I fucked up. Like, and you can't go back and change that. Like, that sucks too. But it's that handful of times, 3, 4, 5 times that I can think of in my whole life where you knew that you shouldn't have done that, and you went and you did it anyways, you know? Like, I make mistakes all the time, and those right there, you know, those are some difficult moments to live with, you know, and I think that's a place where I probably could use some of what you just described right there. Is like, you can't change that. That's misery, the way I interpret it. You know?
And just allowing yourself to feel. Because I think a lot of people, what they come into the dark is they realize all the areas where they've been avoiding misery, because we distract ourselves with our phone, everything all the time. And then once they finally accept that there is misery, then there's that acceptance. There's then the discovery of something within us that is not miserable. Right?
Yeah.
The presence.
That eternal, always going to be there, never going to, just whatever this is right now. It includes misery, it includes sadness, it includes happiness, it includes joy. It's everything. There's this one really cool song I love listening to like almost every day, and it says something like, I welcome it all, I welcome all the feeling, I welcome it all, I welcome all these teachings, I welcome it all, I welcome all that life brings. There's a couple other verses there I can't remember, but it's just whenever I'm feeling that misery right there, I try to tune into that, and it's like, no, this is what you came for on this planet. This is part of it. You don't want a life without that. You don't, like, this is life. This is everything. It's the all. It's the omega. It's all part of it, right?
Totally. Yeah. I love that. When I go into the dark now, my way of orienting this last time was just welcoming all things. That was just the presence. And just bringing it all in.
And just kind of recognizing that it's all right. This too shall pass, right? It's all going to pass. Like, we're happy right now. Ooh, I had some of those experiences for sure. I'd be like, I'd just be laughing my ass off in there at something, and then all of a sudden, just this dark turn, and I'm like, whoa, where did, can we go back? Like, it's like, no, it's all here, dude. You got to deal with all of it. Yeah. And that was important too, was realizing, like, you're not stuck in this. Like, well, not to sound like I'm advocating avoiding, right, a dark moment to go back to this joyous moment, but because sometimes there's a lot to be learned from being in there, like you said, and accepting it and staying there, not running away from it. But also that you that other more positive mindset or frame of thought, it's always within reaching distance. It's always right there, like you kind of decide where you want to be, and when you do, I think maybe an interesting way of looking at it is that when you do live in misery, when you do live in the pain, be it because you decided to, because you made that conscious choice that there's something to learn from the misery right now, there's something to learn from the pain, but not because you're stuck there and you can't get out of it, and I think that's maybe a very important distinction to make, because I think there's a lot of people just kind of indulge in just living in the misery, just drama queen. It's like, oh, why me? It's like, no. Nobody's saying that you should live there, that you should stay there, but that you should learn to, going back to that definition of how I see equanimity now. It's like, no, you do care and you do want to fix this very much, but you're okay with being there for the time needed, not because I want to be here, right? There's time that you need to live in that pain and feel it and learn from it, and then there's time that you don't need to spend in that pain and misery, that you're just there because you're stuck in your patterns.
Beautiful. Thanks for being here, Don.
Man, what a pleasure. I'm very, very grateful for the whole experience that you guys provided me with, and nothing but the deepest gratitude for you and Adrian and everybody here in this land that was part of this experience, and it's such a pleasure to have a conversation like this with you, and just to share this energy and space with you, brother.
Thanks, Don.
I love you, bro.
Pleasure. Love you too. Thanks.